We're live.
Hi, guys.
Testing.
Hi, guys.
I think we're live.
Whew.
Open my collar up a little
She getting hot. She ready to drop the mic.
Getting a little warm in here. My little internal thermostat is going.
Well, we know what it really is.
I can't turn it off and on like I want to.
No.
Sometimes it comes.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Welcome to Well Said with Kim and Vic. I'm Kim.
I'm Vic.
And we appreciate you joining us here on the Seeking Educational Excellence YouTube channel, where we seek to educate you about what's real in life. And we actually focus on K through 12 education.
Yeah.
So we will be talking again, our part 2, about parent involvement.
And when we talk about K through 12, we are also including those children who fall within the autism spectrum under the umbrella. So we do have articles that I try to, get out there for my parents, that community, because they're very close and dear to my heart.
Very close and dear to her heart.
You know what, guys?
Understandable.
I got an article for you today. This article is by a man by the name of, where are we at here? Dr. George Brock
Chisholm.
He was the first director general of the World Health Organization from 1948
The who?
to 1953. Okay. Listen to this. To achieve world government, that means world government, we're talking about also education. It is necessary to remove from the minds of a man the individuality, loyalty to their family, parents, traditions, religion, national patriotism, loving your country, and religious dogmas. Isn't that interesting?
Very interesting.
And it was funny because it was tweeted out the other day by Peter Edden. Okay.
Hi, Charlene. Thank you.
And that was on January 18th. He tweeted that out. It's amazing.
So you think about it, like with what he said, and especially in the current climate of what we're seeing, and especially because we do look at things from an educational perspective, K through 12, and we see what's going on in the public school system here in the United States.
Yeah.
And that seems eerily prophetic.
Yeah.
And it makes you believe, for those of us or those of you out there who always talk about people being conspiracy theorists, these people are strategic. They're strategic, and they're out in the open about their beliefs. All you got to do is go search it out and you'll find it.
And when I saw it, I said, oh my goodness, it just like my eyes nearly just popped open.
So what's interesting to me, especially since our topic is parent involvement and parent engagement and stuff, remove people from their individualism. You think about that, and we hear about the collective all the time, right? So the group think, the tribalism and all that kind of stuff, that's by design. Yeah. Right? It's by design to keep people divided. Yes. And a house divided amongst itself, what do we learn? Cannot stand, right? Yeah. And then it talks about loyalty to family traditions. America was built on that family unit, that family tradition, which is the fabric of any society. Yeah. A strong family unit, traditional family unit.
Father, mother.
Right. No shade against gay folks. That's not anti-gay.
No, but
that's what the people will hear. You know that.
That's not the traditional family that the
kids deserve to be loved regardless of where the love is coming from. We're not saying that. What we're saying is fact, the traditional family and the traditional family unit is the fabric of society, and that's how societies have thrived. When you start destroying that fabric, of course it gets weak, and then societies fall apart.
Each year you're like taking away a thread, so you're making it frayed.
And then the other thing in here in your article, I mean, this is me and Vic prepared, but sometimes she drops stuff on me and I'm just absorbing it now.
I'm doing that because I want to fresh.
Yes. So the national patriotism. You think about that nowadays, if we talk about being patriotic,
racist.
Right. So I was listening to a podcast this morning, or to some influencers on, on YouTube, and he made a comment that it's so funny how when you say something like America first, people think of racism. Like who? Well, I never would have jumped to that, but that's the narrative now. Yeah. And then finally, religious dogmas. Religion, you got to think about it. It has its place because religion usually preaches things like morality, righteousness, doing the right thing, being a servant, whether you believe in religion or not, those are universal principles that definitely promote the social well-being,
social well-being, and it also
the community.
Yes, and it keeps you basically in line with the law. The law
with the universal principles, right?
Yeah,
the only law that really matters, So, and having said that, just to tie it all up, in our continuation of talking about parent involvement and parent engagement, one of the things I found sorely missing in it, and we'll touch on some of the things we talked about. And nobody disagrees. This is the thing too, is that linguistics is very important, right? Who would disagree with parent involvement, right?
Who wouldn't want
But what are the parents involved and engaged in, right? So you get the language from the school systems that they want the parents involved. However, what's sorely missing from that piece is curriculum development. So I have found, I question that. And in looking back, I found a couple of articles that actually support what I was thinking, that parents are not involved. No. It's the school boards, it's the principals. They're making these decisions about what children are going to learn. And nobody's going out and asking the parents to be involved in that, right?
Okay, that's true, but you got to also understand that it's not a one-way avenue. If you see something wrong, you have to interject with that. Parents have to do their due diligence as well. They have to make sure that they're active in their child's school. You can't wait and expect someone to do the correct thing. Okay.
And then Charlene said, and I appreciate this. Charlene said she's been homeschooling for 7 years plus. And she's been working with Kevin too. So that's all. Oh yes, we got to talk, because even just from the cursory stuff I know about homeschooling, I know how highly beneficial it is. And this may be something that maybe parents can start forming co-ops. Where they're just homeschooling their kids.
And you just think you build a little community, because what happens is once you build that community, you have strength, you have support. And what's happening is that we just want you guys to know, January 24th is School Choice Week.
Yes.
So
we talked about that
please,
too.
if whatever state you live in, please, everybody has a different mandate, but also that school choice includes homeschooling, your tax dollars and homeschooling. And this is what our former administration was so for, that choice. And sometimes people can be ignorant of understanding, well, I make this amount of money. It's not about that. You pay taxes. Your tax dollars will go somewhere. And whether it's a school, it's going to go there. If you're at home, you may need that money for books. You may need that money for a whiteboard. There's supplies that you have to, because you're teaching your child at home. Please look into that and see what you can get through this week. And one thing I noticed, they did advertise it. I went looking for it.
Oh, for the school choice week. Charlene says that they have a great community of homeschoolers, and it's growing. I think it's absolutely a growing phenomenon, because especially with the parent involvement piece that, that we've been kind of talking about. First we talked about school choice a couple of weeks ago, and we came into the parent involvement and parent engagement. Found a lot of good information about it. We looked into the No Child Left Behind legislation and the Every Student Succeeds Act that replaced the No Child Left Behind and stuff. And it all talks a good game. And then, Shirley, you may be familiar with this too, because I found an article in American Thinker about this company that's heavily involved in the school curriculum, because that's what I was curious about. And it's called the Corin Company. And they're heavily involved in some of the bigger school districts, and not only in the United States, but in Canada. And their curriculum is heavily steeped in leftist ideology.
And that's the thing. They're trying to train them. We did something, a video a long time ago when we first about chaos and how do you get mass amounts of people to begin to adhere to that ideology. And that is for months, 2 months. It only takes 2 months.
That's right.
2 months to brainwash. Look, we had 4 years
was
of
it 2 months or 23 days? I can't remember.
It was 2 months.
It was 2 months. Okay.
It was 2 months.
I don't know why 23 days.
4 years. And people actually thought our former administration was orange. Do you see? It's I can't even laugh at anything like that, because I just think the critical thinking of it all, it's unbelievable.
Well, that's the key.
But that's the key is to
at seeking educational excellence. The focus is to bring critical thinking skills back into the K through 12 school system.
Yeah.
Because currently, what we believe, in my humble opinion, is happening is more indoctrination than actual education.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in school, which was a long time ago. We ain't gonna talk about how long ago that was, but we focused on academics. We focused on reading, writing, and arithmetic. I hated math, but I had to take it.
Yeah.
And it was just something that I see that's sorely missing now.
Because they put Common Core. That Common Core made parents feel inferior. Parents weren't able to assist, because
the parents can't teach it. The kids come home, and I've experienced that with my granddaughter, right?
If you don't understand it, you feel like, as I'm the parent, being that I'm the parent, I'm supposed to have the answers to my child's question, because I'm their nurturer. I'm the person that they look to develop, to grow. And if I don't have that answer, all those things going this way and that, I'm like, what happened to just 1 + 1 equals 2?
Right.
2 + 2 equals 4.
Well, Vic, do you think that's by design?
No. Yes.
I mean, yes.
Yes, it's by design. And I think it is just to
edge the parents
away,
out.
to move you farther and farther away because you get so disgusted with, I don't know how to do it. You're going to have to wait till you go back to school. I'll write a note to the teacher. I'll tell her whatever. This is what is designed to do to our parents here, to stay away from the system, to stay away from the institution. There's no more inviting parents to sit in on classrooms. They don't want you in there because
they give you lip service. They do. They give you lip service. That's what I said. Linguistics is very important. They'll put it in all their literature and join the PTA and become involved with your, child's school. They'll invite you, but their actions will social. And then they count on, this is what I say. I really believe that the public school system and those who run it now count on parents, not being involved because they got to work.
Yeah.
Most children these days come from two parents working out of the home. By the time parents get home and having to deal with things at home and stuff, it's difficult to be involved in school. I was fortunate enough that I had a job that I had flexibility with my schedule. So I was able to show up at the school, do school trips and stuff as much as I could.
But you know what? They want to go, according to New York City schools, they want to go 100% remote anyways. I got an article here for you. It says, I think it's time for capital region schools to pull the plug on in-school learning and transition to all remote. Okay, on Albany. Okay, New York City schools have lost more than 90 teachers that have died from coronavirus, and hundreds have been sick from the virus. My daughter, I won't mention the school, but it's a high school, went back to school for a week after Christmas break. for the in-school learning, and then almost immediately had to transition back to remote learning after something like 25 COVID cases were reported in students, teachers, and staff. It seems like every day I get an email from the school district announcing more cases. In my opinion, we are playing Russian roulette, especially with our teachers, our schools, our staff's lives. For what? So schools can brag, they can be able to stay open at what cost. However, when you do have learning remotely, then we have the problem with parents being able to observe what their child is being taught on virtual teaching, and they don't like it.
I was getting ready to say that's a double-edged sword. But what I've been seeing during COVID is, I don't know if you saw the instances where teachers were reporting parents who had guns in their house, right? Yes. Calling Child Protective Services. Yes. And then in other instances, you had parents who were smoking marijuana in the background. So it's a double-edged sword. But but if you think about it, human beings are social creatures. We're used to being socialized. That was one of the biggest reasons that they even argued for Head Start, right? Mm-hmm. Socialization of the kids. And really it was indoctrination of the kids now that I look back. Mm-hmm. But that's a whole other story. But they thought it was so important to start getting them socialized like at 2 and 3 years old. It's no coincidence to me that, with the onset of like the welfare state and stuff like that, and the encouragement of feminism for women to go out in the workforce and work, lead their kids to other people and stuff.
But that also leads back to what you were saying in your statement about parents being involved. They don't,
right. That's what I'm saying. Now we came to this conclusion, because I used to argue that systemic racism didn't exist. Now y'all stay with me and listen to what I'm gonna say. Especially like as a conservative, because I get sick of, especially in our community, having that victim mentality that it's always somebody else's fault. So it's so easy to blame white supremacy, systemic racism. I say systemic. I don't. There's a such word as systematic, but I think that's an adverb. Anyway, so the systemic racism does exist, and you just got to look at where it's coming from, because we do have institutional racism with the welfare state, right? With affirmative action, with telling Black folks they can't succeed, so we got to help you. That's, you're
not good enough.
Right, that's one of the most, to me, insulting forms of racism. Your
brain doesn't think the way my brain thinks.
Exactly.
God, the creator.
And then these systems are set up under the guise of racism and a way to try to help you because you ain't smart enough or strong enough or
equal enough
to help yourself.
So we have to help you.
I've always loathed paternalism. You thinking that because I'm Black, I need your help. No, I just need you to get out my way. Yeah. So I think we may digress a little bit, because we do want to talk about parent involvement. Yeah. But I had to come to the conclusion recently that yes, systemic racism does exist, but you got to look at the root of it and where it's coming from. Yeah. It's not coming from those of us who are traditionalists, populists, if you want to call us right-wing, conservative, Republicans, with all of that, independent thinkers, critical thinkers.
That's what it is. How you think cognitively and then critically, you just wear it out. But, they don't want us to think critically.
Exactly.
Because when the noise is going, it's hard for you to think critically. All of this, just they got throwing transgender, this, that. Inside the schools,
I was at one time. Vic, what about that whole thing where children are being allowed to decide?
That's fine.
And then without the parental, see, that's the other thing. They talk a good game about parental involvement, but then now they're allowing teenage girls to make decisions about abortion without parental consent. Now they're allowing children, was it in New York City schools that you saw were allowed to decide to take the vaccine?
That was in Washington, D.C.
In D.C. I keep getting it. New York, D.C., same thing. It's swampland. It's swampland. Somebody said the swamp is not a swamp. It's actually an ocean. That's probably correct. But where you are getting the lip service for parental involvement, right? But you're not getting the action doesn't match the words.
Yeah.
The actions don't match the words. So the actions are trying to take the parents out of the equation.
Yeah.
Where the words are saying, yeah, we want you involved in, and if they do allow you to be involved, you're involved in helping indoctrinate your children.
But my question is, I want to see what you parents think out there, but about the transgender. They're talking about, there was a parent in Utah to do parent home. They did not allow this daughter to identify her gender. Now, my question is, now that she goes to school and she's, I guess they would say genderless. She doesn't have a gender.
None at all.
Yeah, she's not. They didn't say. They don't say
she's an amoeba. Yeah,
so
amoeba.
But we have to think. It's just like we just got to really think critically, because you're going into, you sending your little Michelle into
yes, boy, girl, period,
into a kindergarten class, and you saying you've taught your child the moral law of humanity, boy, girl. So your child now knows this embedded in their minds. So they go into school and they says, oh, my friend Michelle is a boy. No, she's not. Her name is Michelle. And you arguing with your child because Michelle looks like a girl, but Michelle is saying she's a boy. How do we resolve that, guys? How does parents resolve that? Well, if the school is saying if they don't want to identify as a gender, you can't identify that child. You are messing with that child's psyche, because that child is already taught that look like a girl, that looks like a boy.
Well, that's what we're talking about. The indoctrination that's going on with the kids. That's why parent involvement is important. Parent engagement is important, but it's got to be at a deeper level. It can't be just showing up as the classroom mom.
Yes.
It can't be just showing up as, going on a field trip. I mean, those things are good. Don't get me wrong, but we got to dig a little bit deeper. You know, these school boards and stuff, these are elected officials. We need to start showing up at school board meetings. As a matter of fact, I found another article, guys. And it was it's old, but I feel like some of these things
are still relevant.
Right. It doesn't matter because it's still, so it's the National Center for Education Statistics. I found this PDF online.
Okay.
It was actually from 1995,
That's
but
okay.
it's still applicable. Okay. So some of the key questions were, which groups make key educational decisions in schools? It's the teachers, the parents, the principals. So after, kind of framing the question, the final determination was, this is crazy, you guys. Let me read it too. Finally, a few public or private school principals perceived parent associations to be strongly a few public schools. And so it's saying they didn't think that parent associations and parents were strongly influential. The influence was coming from the principals, the school boards, and in some instances, the teachers. So school boards are very powerful. And I think as parents and wanting to be involved, you have to start. Myself, even though my children are grown, I have grandchildren in school, I think I'm going to start going to some school board meetings. We got to show up. And not just parental involvement, but grandparent involvement.
This is what I was talking
community
about.
Involvement. Those
local.
of us,
This
local. It's a local issue.
This is like, and I was telling her months ago, I said, people, this is a local issue. If you are opting out not to show up, okay, at the the local commissioners,
the councils, the city councils, the school boards. You better start showing. You handing your children over, because if you think Washington D.C. is making these decisions, no, this is being done on your local level, and your local legislators, okay, representatives on your local level, they are making those decisions in your child's schools.
in just everyday life, your taxes, your tax dollars. These people are running your life and you don't even know it. You better get involved. I'm just saying, on the local level, people can take it how they want. But my thing is, I encourage you, because if you have small children, I don't have any grandchildren. I have an adult daughter. However, I'm doing this because I'm fighting for my future grandchildren.
Yes,
that's what I'm fighting for. Because you see,
ultimately this country,
because
they got to be in this country.
She's gonna have to, or he's gonna have to live it. And I'm like saying, I can't look them in the face and say I did nothing.
Nothing. I got 4 grandchildren and 1 on
I
the way.
did nothing to prevent this before you got here. I turned a blind eye. I refuse to do that. I refuse to do that, and I'm involved, and she know it.
Yes, she is.
I'm involved with my local.
You know, the funny thing is, both of us have been asked to run for office locally. I don't know that I want to be in politics like that. I always say,
they throw a rock at my house.
I got too many skeletons in my closet.
Listen,
I'm an ex-Democrat. So, but I did want to at least acknowledge, like, one of Charlene's comments about the 1619 project. And some of the things that Kevin is doing, the 1776 Troop. There's another, what's this guy's name? She probably knows him. He's doing the 1776 project too, as well. Kevin knows him better. His name is on the tip of my tongue. Woodson. So I'm familiar with the 1619 project. We all know about it. I've seen some of Kevin's videos. I've shared those out, which is great. So that's a great point, Charlene. I think that, and that's some of the stuff that just needs to be taught in the schools from a civic standpoint. Also, you had made a comment about putting your son in small Christian schools. Now, that's the issue with school choice too, because a lot of people cannot afford to put their kids into the private schools. You're one of the fortunate ones, either the private schools or homeschooling. In the Black community, you know, we got so many households being led by single moms, single Black mothers. And that in itself is a challenge. So one of the things I'm thinking about, because by profession, I'm a field agent. I go out on the field, I sell burial insurance. I knock on people's doors, run leads and stuff. And we may just have to create a grassroots educational campaign. I've done things like going to Black churches and teach about burial insurance. I don't see why we can't go do the same thing for helping parents to understand the options that they have as far as educating their children, and then creating these co-ops. So when we talk about parent involvement and parent engagement, which is very important, we identify that parents' rights are being trampled on by the public school systems, that they're doing things. I had mentioned before that Planned Parenthood came into the school when my son was in middle school. And she said she got grants. Yeah, I got vouchers too. So I know that. And then that's the key too, is that
you have to do the work.
And then we got to educate people about what's available. Like here, we're in North Carolina. In North Carolina, they have opportunity scholarships that are available. And so we got to educate ourselves about, and then go out in the community and educate these parents about it. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing.
And you know, like I told you before, sometimes it's just good to just team up with people, like-minded people like yourself, and start a group. So listen, I look on FB. They have a lot of homeschooling
fake book.
They have a lot of homeschooling groups that you can connect with in your area, and you can have some type of support, because when you out there and you start it, you don't want to feel like you're alone.
Right.
You want to feel like there's other people that are have the same apprehensions that you have with putting your children in public school. So you've opted out to start at home. Right. These people felt the same way that you feel.
You know what? And then Charlene made another good point, and I've seen this too. For the private schools, the charter schools and stuff like that, if a parent approaches them directly, they will show you how to get the grants and get the children enrolled. So I think that's a great thing. I still think it is grassroots. We gonna have, see, here's the deal, Big, and you know it too. And maybe one of our lives can be. You remember I did that whole presentation about the Constitution.
Yeah.
I think that would be
We're gonna do that. We're gonna put that thing, and I'm gonna let her do her thing. I know about the Constitution.
Yes, she does.
As well. However, I like the way. Sometimes I just like sit back and let her run her mouth. Yeah, she loves. I love to talk. Right. But one would say to ask Charlene, is there an amount? Because that's another issue. Parents feel that, okay, if I'm making 85 plus, I can't get grants. I can't get this. I can homeschool on my own. However, like I said, there's still things to be made, be purchased. Materials, you have to buy the curriculum from whatever. This is money accumulating. Would they be able to apply for that as well? Charlene
probably knows. Put it in the comments, Charlene. Yeah, we're loving your comments. So, any comments you have about that, especially, and I think that was an issue. I know why Vic is bringing that up because we talked about this last week. Her and her husband were over the income limits to get any kind of assistance with private schools. So not only were there taxpayers, this was another issue that came up because taxpayer money, homeowners' money who pay taxes go towards local public schools. So they're paying taxes for the public schools. Then they have to pay tuition for their daughter to go to private school. So
but you can't. Let me tell you something. Your taxes that go to schools, if you don't have any children, I did it in public school. You can tell them, I don't want my tax dollars going there. I have no children live here with me. So I'm not paying taxes. Why am I paying taxes to a school that my kid, I don't have any children that's going, my tax dollars shouldn't be going there. I understand people have to, but those are not my children. So therefore, because there's no children registered at this residence under 18, why are my tax dollars going there? So you can't, this is another thing, being involved.
Well, Charlene is saying too now that there's a homeschool groups that help others afford the curriculum and stuff. So she said, but more is needed, of course. Yeah. And we're going to have to collaborate because this war against, our children has been going on for years. So and we're getting on the battlefield. So we just got to keep, building up our troops. Yeah. And then something else that she says, that she would find out the curriculum that the local private schools use, and then she would contact that same company and inquire about their homeschool options. So that's
also going into college in certain states. If your child is in high school and they are going into college and they're doing online programs, I know there's North Carolina State.
Oh, that's Molly. That's not Charlene. I'm sorry. Molly. Hey, Molly, smile. Charlene was commenting so much. You see Molly's comments. So thanks, Molly, for joining us.
You can actually, she's paying $625 a semester for a child to take online classes for West North Carolina State. So there's also where if your child is on line now, going to college, you can get, you don't have to pay
that huge tuition. You can pay a smaller fee and they can do it online
and it does
get the accreditation.
Yeah, and it's not going according to you getting state aid too with that in addition. So I mean, there's so many things that's out here now that if they're going to keep this virtual stuff going, it would behoove everyone to start looking, researching, and use those opportunities for your benefit, because the government is not going to give you anything.
Molly is saying that too, that there's a organization called a Homeschool Legal Defense or Association if you are homeschooling. So this is information we can share with parents in our community. And she said that they actually offer a homeschool option as well.
Okay.
I think homeschooling is a great option for those parents who can do it.
These teachers that,
and especially now, look, a lot of us are home anyway, right? Because we can't work. Yeah. So this may be the perfect time to take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see what else we have here.
So And in light of what we're talking about, especially with the parent involvement and parent engagement, we're painfully aware of what's going on. Unfortunately, though, a lot of parents in the community aren't, because they're entrusting their children to people, in my humble opinion, that don't have any goodwill towards us or intend harm, particularly not only to the children and those families, but to the community, to the state, and to the nation at large, because they have an agenda that they're promoting.
Yeah.
And because the critical thinking skills have been removed, and they have been removed from the schools, the public schools, then you get adults who don't have critical thinking skills, right?
But that's what's coming out of college, huh?
Right. And
teaching your children.
And then just like what I was talking about, I was listening to a YouTuber this morning talking about this very thing. He actually made the observation, or he sees, because he's a millennial himself, it's a lot of millennials who are anti-establishment. So that means they don't like, the current administration, right? No, here's the difference. They're not comfortable with the establishment, Democrats or whoever, the swamp creatures and stuff. But unfortunately, they associate a lot with the socialists. And you got to think about it. They've been indoctrinated to think more government is good. So really, the key with maybe even helping them is educating them about the benefits of capitalism and the drawbacks of socialism. See, they've been indoctrinated. They didn't learn in the 20th century all the hundreds of millions of people that were killed because of socialist and communist policies. They didn't learn that communism and socialism has failed every place it's been tried.
Until they start eating one another.
They sell such a good linguistics are so important. When you start hearing, free healthcare for everybody, who doesn't want that, right? But the reality is that's just not practical.
But the thing about it is, that's the ignorance, because nothing in life was free. Even your freedom. Someone had to go to a battlefield and lay down their life in war for you to be free. So what was really free? Nothing, because someone gave their life so that you can enjoy the things of life. So there's nothing in the world is free. So it's just, it's just thinking critically.
You know what, too? And I see a comment by Molly. She talked about Total Twins. I actually bought those books for my grandkids. So seems like I'm in good company. Those are good reads.
Yeah.
So, and that's the other thing, too. We talk about parental involvement. Grandparents can be involved, too.
Yeah.
Because you have any influence with your adult children and are involved in your grandkids' lives, get books the Total Twins that came across. As a matter of fact, my feed on Facebook, and they had some kind of special. So I bought 2 sets, one for my granddaughter that lives with me, who's 8. And then I got some grandsons that my son's sons, they're in a different state. They're 2 and 3, but they can read them when they grow up. And I think it's important one thing that is true. I used to kind of cringe about it. It takes a village, but not if the village is a bunch of communists. I'm sorry. It depends on the village that's raising the kids.
Lord.
It's just the truth. So, and it's always the communists that are saying it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They talk about, because they want to take your kids and raise them themselves to believe what they want them to believe, not you.
Yeah.
So the true village, when I was coming up, was when I acted up in the neighborhood. My neighbor could beat my behind, discipline me, and then tell my mom, and then I'm getting disciplined again. That's the type of village that I mean. But when they talk about a village from a certain ideological, is that a word? Perspective. They're talking about indoctrinating your child and getting them to believe that even if he's a little boy, that if he believes he's a little girl, he's a little girl. So these are the kinds of things that is going on.
That's what I was talking about. That if a child who really don't even know how to keep themselves sanitary down there with changing their underwear every day. You have your child saying, "Okay, did you change tidy whitey?" you know, because you have on Wednesday and you have on Monday underwear. So you see, this is not thinking. You see, this is what I'm saying. People, they want you to react to what they're saying. Right. But the thing about it is that critically thinking, can a child at 6 years old, 7 years old, be able to say what gender they feel if they can't even remember on Wednesday that they have on Monday's underwear?
Let me tell you,
does that make sense?
At 18, I still didn't know a whole bunch of stuff. So there's no way. I still was trying to figure stuff out. Look, I ain't gonna say how old I am now, but I'm well over 18. I'm still figuring stuff out. So to actually allow a 6-year-old, an 8-year-old, it's a 12-year-old to decide what gender they are,
and they can't even change. You know, it's just like
that's lunacy. That's not asinine. That's lunacy.
They can't even remember to put on. I mean, as being a teacher, they couldn't even remember to put on their deodorant. You could smell. I mean, they start getting body odor. You know, it's just you just see it just critically thinking. You don't even have to go through all of that stuff. Just say like you ain't even put on.
I got an 8-year-old granddaughter that lives with me, and she can't even remember like, you know, cleaning up her room, basic stuff.
Just
basic things.
Cleaning
you know,
up after yourself when you finish your toilet.
And then I'm supposed to let her decide that she's a little boy instead of a little girl.
This is what I'm saying.
And I'm just trying to teach her. Me and her mother are trying to teach her basic life skills.
And it's hard just to do that with basic life skills because children have to find their
identity. I'm still older than you, baby girl.
They have to find their identity. Children are finding their identity at that time. They're trying to figure out the world.
Molly said she got a sticky teenager at her house.
Yeah, because they like to stink. They don't.
I'm dead.
You know, wait a minute. It's just like, you know, like when we were growing up, you know, we had the rumpus room. The kids go in the rumpus room. My brother, he had his feet. He used to play ball, and his sneakers used to smell. And it was just like, you don't smell that, you know?
Ooh, we done digressed all the way from parental involvement. But I got you, babe.
This is critical because this is critical thinking. And this is part of parents taking the helm and also thinking critically to engage in their child's life. And if that means you better remember to change them nasty socks, okay? And not put them back on, put them in your shoe. And you don't sweat all day, running and playing and stuff like that. And
Molly said her son don't even go nowhere. He smells like been outside all day. Y'all got me dead in here.
Ooh, girl, I tell you, because they can give some B.O. I know my first year when I started teaching, and I was just substitute teaching because I had not acclimated into the system yet. And I remember you come down the hallway in a high school, them kids used to smell so bad, them boys, and some of them girls too, and hole up in a corner, stinking. I'm like saying, before you need to talk to that young man, you need to learn how to keep yourself clean. You okay?
So we talking about these same kids who supposed to make a decision about their gender. And these are teenagers, so these are old. You know what? But you wait a minute. It makes sense now. Hold on. They rather get them when they're 6 and 8 years old because it's easier to influence them, right? Yeah. It's hard to influence a teenager. Teenagers think they know everything anyway, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not going to come at the teens because the teens gonna do what they want to do anyway.
Exactly.
But if you get them when they're young, when they're still impressionable, it's easier to, you know, and the whole transgender issue came from a mental disease called gender dysphoria. So we've taken a mental disease
and made it
a political football at the expense of our children.
And listen, y'all better turn up that football game because they got them boys working around with purses. You better not be making them boys, y'all, your children's role model. Oh, Victoria, don't even go in there because you know you're going to have yourself a laugh. You got Cram Newton walking around with his hair twisted up, and then he got a little handbag walking through. What kind of nonsense is that?
Yeah. You know what, too, Molly, on that comment about normalizing mental illness, I have an interesting fact. I used to follow this. Oh gosh, what's his name? Umar Johnson. I mean, he's kind of controversial in the Black community, but he's a psychologist, and he talked about how homosexuality used to be considered. I'm not trying to throw shade at my homosexual peeps. I promise you,
I know
I'm
a lot
not.
of them.
But that homosexuality at one point was considered a psychological disorder, and it was normalized by the APA, the American Psychological Association, back in 1972 or something like that. And then at that point, there was an explosion of, homosexuality. Now, I'm from the old school. We all had that uncle that was a little feminine. My grandmama used to call them sissies or whatever. And no shade to my gay people, please. Don't nobody take offense. I'm old school. I'm not trying to offend anybody.
My thing is, if you're an adult, you can make that a decision. But don't put that on a child.
Exactly. That's
a minor.
My point.
Because you don't give a car keys to a kid.
That's right.
With no license and say, go drive.
And that's how I am.
Go and drink.
Because I have a gay son and I love him to death. But he's grown. He's almost 30 years old.
You make the decision for yourself after that. But when you
leave the kids alone,
they will make a decision as they grow up. Let them grow. Let them grow.
To become adults. And then same with this daggone vaccine. I know we digressing from parental involvement, but I feel like I want to let people who are 18 and over make the decision. Don't be giving it, mandating it and making kids. And I have a feeling that's going to come next. They're talking about opening up the schools and stuff. And so when they open up the schools, they're going to want these kids to take these vaccines. We better let's push homeschooling.
Let me tell you something. That health person that the administration has put in place.
Okay, Charlene, I got your information. We will definitely reach out.
She's transgender. And if you don't think, this is what I'm saying, you parents got to get on the board of this normalizing this, that boys can go into bathrooms with young girls. I feel like a girl today. I'm going to go into the girls' bathroom. And listen, young boys are not, they just want it. Sometimes they just chucking and jiving around. They're not even serious. And they go into a bathroom and they just because kids are kids, they don't think. Hurt some kid and their lives is destroyed because they're playing around with something that they don't understand,
right,
that adults put in place. And now it's up to them to cognitively figure stuff like that out. And they go in there with a whole, it's just so many things that is pointing to wrong. Okay. And as an adult educator, I see the warning signs before it even happens that we'll open up a Pandora's box for destruction.
Wow. Molly is saying that she warned her friend that eventually the public school will require the vaccine, even if you're doing viral learning in public school. She's probably right.
Yeah.
And then Charlene was saying that Biden just signed that back into place. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying. He signed back into place. But I remember when he was on the stump, or they were doing a town hall and somebody asked him about that, allowing an 8-year-old to decide their gender, and he was all for it.
Yeah. I think the
bathrooms. Oh, okay. Charlene, the bathrooms.
Even our governor had a problem with about the bathrooms
here in North
Carolina, and come to find out that his children goes to a
private school and ain't got to deal with it. Good for thee, but not for me. I've always felt like the whole transgender bathroom thing, and for a little while, North Carolina was kind of like ground zero for that, because I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah.
So I think Obama was still president.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of the transgender bathroom issue and saying, boy, and the NBA took the All-Star game away.
Yes.
And they start trying to boycott
everything that they could.
I'm in Charlotte, and they boycotted. They took the game away and sent it to Georgia somewhere.
Yeah.
But
and they took away what's the other thing that they took away that year?
Yeah.
There was something else that we usually have here.
I know what you're talking about, because that year was the All-Star, the NBA All-Star game. And it's something that I know what you're talking about.
Else. Even they took away the NASCAR that year. Okay. NASCAR didn't play that year either. So, I mean, it's like they're saying we're going to force you.
And you think about it too. See, this is how backward thinking they are. When you allow people to identify a certain way and then allow them like to use the bathrooms, to me, that could definitely be a cover for pedophiles. You know, some pedophile may decide one day, oh, I feel like I'm a woman today and go in the bathroom and try to mess with little girls. That's all I can think about because I got a granddaughter. So when you think about it, that it's the logic and the thinking behind it. To me, why not make one bathroom that anybody can use? Like some of the places I see, they have the men's bathroom, the women's bathroom, and then they'll have like a family bathroom or something like that. So why not a men's bathroom, a women's bathroom, and a unisex bathroom? But I just don't understand the like the lack of critical thinking skills that's there. It's easy for them to try to make these laws about these bathrooms, but their kids aren't subject to it. It's those of us, us regular everyday folk, that's subject to these policies. And having said that, for those who are so interested, are more concerned about personality instead of policy. Policy has always mattered more. I could care less about people's personalities and how they come across. You know,
how's your policy?
What is your right? What is your policy?
And I remember when I first started teaching. I remember this is. I mean, it was they pounded it in our heads that children should be able to learn in an environment that was loving and nurturing. They pounded that in our head in college. And it's just like, this is not nurturing. This is indoctrination.
Exactly.
That's not nurturing.
So Molly is saying too, and I think she's right, that the states will crack down on the homeschool. So you got to think about it, and from this whole issue that we're discussing from parent involvement, that's the ultimate parent involvement. Look, I'm going to get involved and just teach my child myself, right? But she's saying that she thinks that the states will try to crack down on it. And I don't doubt it.
I don't doubt it. But see,
she's saying this one organization, the HSLDA, will help protect families.
But you know, the thing about it is this is the prime time.
HSLDA.
This is the prime time for parents to start banding together. Making little, what do they call those little cells?
Co-ops.
All around.
Yes.
So that, you know what, when they do try to present that, you have so many cells.
Right, it's decentralized. Right, exactly.
And so then you say, like they said, oh, well, we can't do this. We're going to have to
small government, like we said.
So this is what I'm saying.
Decentralization.
People have to start, you parents have to start thinking critically here. This is, trust me, I have no fight in this game, but my future grandchildren.
I do. I got 4 and 1 on the way. Not 4, ladies. Not 4, y'all. 4.
You know, but my thing is like this.
And 1 on the way.
You know, it's just, I got a fight in me because I said, listen, I don't care about you grown folk. Leave the babies alone.
Right. That's
you want it. Stupid.
That's right.
Go ahead.
And that's the beautiful thing about.
Don't touch the babies.
That's the beautiful thing too about this country. You know, when you grow, you're free to do what you want to. And I'm all for freedom and liberty.
Yeah.
Even if I don't agree with you, I'm all for free speech and everything. I could diametrically opposed. As a matter of fact, I'd rather know what you think so I know who you are, where you are.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and we got to be careful of getting in these echo chambers and just hearing what we want to hear. Although it's tempting. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I love being with people who think like I do.
Yeah, it's easy.
But, you know, at the same time, I'm for free speech, even if your speech is offensive to me. Like, who am I? I don't care if
you have the freedom to do that. That's what, you know, that's what our soldiers have done for us previously. They went and they fought and gave their life for our freedom, and it's not free. Someone sacrificed.
Exactly.
Something.
Freedom is not free.
It ain't free.
And here's another thing that I just thought about that kind of hit me when we talk about freedom and stuff. We got about 5 minutes left, and we really appreciate Charlene and Molly being here today. It's been awesome. And I know we got some more folks out there, so please comment.
You know, we would love to hear you.
So, but when it comes to free speech and being able to talk about what you believe in this republic. That's the wonderful thing about this country.
Yeah.
Is that, and I definitely want to do the Constitution presentation
that will be a treat for you guys.
Yes, we're going to talk about that.
We're going to talk about that.
But
bring it to your head.
You know, parents' rights are being parents' rights are being taken away. They're being trampled. We're at the beginning, I really believe, of a period that's going to be very difficult for us. But at the same time, it's an opportunity for us to fight even harder.
Learning curve.
And learn. And just making sure that we're keeping our wits about us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't get emotional. Mm-hmm. Don't let these people get you upset. Mm-hmm. And be focused on what your purpose and what you're driven about.
Like they say, don't let them gaslight you.
Don't let them There's a whole bunch of gaslighting going on in here.
Yeah. They are gaslighting a lot of people. So don't let that get you, of course, but stay focused.
Yes.
Stay focused.
Yes. So please, you guys, as we're winding down, we got about 4.5 minutes left. Make sure you like this video. Please.
Share this video.
And subscribe to the channel.
Yes.
We have a long-term goal of we're not planning on going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah. Excuse me. And working with Kevin, we have a long-term goal to really build up this channel, to get the message out. Yeah. And hopefully, excuse me, you guys, hopefully ultimately take this message on the road too. And
workshops. We're going to be having workshops.
Exactly.
Where you can go in and go through modules that you can also become more equipped of how to be prepared for your children going out into the world, in college and whether the workforce, because everybody's not college
material
either.
Vocational education and skills,
and we're gonna be talking about that.
Education is very important too.
And we're gonna be talking about that. Every child is not college material. Some of them,
especially these days, because the colleges are indoctrination
as well,
institutions too.
So
I'd rather my kid learn to be a carpenter, or plumber, or some, a YouTuber or whatever. They'll do a whole lot better.
That those jobs, those particular jobs, are becoming extinct. We're talking about bricklayers and masonries. Those things, those jobs, and people are plumbing. These, let me tell you something. These are the jobs that are becoming extinct because the old timers are dying off.
And plus I saw something where AI is going to replace construction. They're going to be able to have robots, just like robots they build the cars. They're going to be building the buildings.
Yeah.
I saw a very interesting thing about that too. So that may be something.
And you know what? In Japan, they already have robots that make the sushi. You don't do nothing.
Yes, that's the other thing. Restaurant workers and all that.
You people crying $15 an hour.
You ain't gonna get nothing.
You're not getting no $15 an hour.
The corporates don't want to pay you nothing.
Let me tell you something. That's not a skill. Okay,
it's not.
You flipping a burger on a bun is not a skill.
Shade to y'all,
no shade to you. But the thing about it is, if you really want to go back to history, those jobs were made for parents who had school-aged children who wanted to make an extra income while their husband went to work in their school, the children were in school. And they did it between 2 to 3 hours per day. And then they went home and they met their children, after school. And then another set came in that had older children that worked in the afternoon from 3 to 5 to get home to make the dinner for the father. Okay, people, we have been a traditional country for a very, very
from the
long time.
Yes, even
okay, and we have totally not to have the father stay home, which I have no problem with, to save that money from those daycares, because I'm telling you, honey, you'll be broke from one of those. But these are the things that we're going to be talking about. And we're going to say, we want to teach you whether or not, do you know whether or not your child is college material, or is your child someone more vocational and how
or entrepreneurial?
And you need to horn in on that early, not when the child is getting ready to graduate from high school. You have to start cultivating that in 10th grade. I'm sorry, but you know what? If 10th graders pass, we still can teach you how you can get on board and make sure they be successful once they get out of 12th grade.
Now, one of the things, I'm going to float this to Kevin too, because I really believe this in my heart as far as education, right? Mm-hmm. When it comes to education, if you're ignorant, ignorance means you don't know, but you may be willing to learn. But if you stupid, we can't fix stupidity. Okay. So my goal, I say this because I do sales and everything, and I educate people about stuff, and I run into a lot of stupid people. Mm-hmm. When I run into stupid people, I keep it moving because I have valuable information. I have valuable education. I have things to teach you that'll be beneficial to you. If you can't see the benefit or refuse the benefit, I can't help you, and I'm not forcing anything on anybody. But it's a lot of people out here who are just ignorant and don't know. Yeah. And our goal is to reach those people who don't know. So having said that, ladies, yes, Charlie, you can't fix stupid. So having said that, thank you so much for joining us. Ladies, we do this every week at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We go live for an hour on the channel, seeking educational excellence. Bring it straight to your head. And this is Well Said with Kim and Vic. Please make sure you guys subscribe, like, and share this channel. Around. And we will see you next week. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. And Charlene, we got your information in there. We will definitely reach out.
Most definitely.
And Molly, thanks for joining us. You have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys. Whew, that was a good one.